Well, President Obama says a number of actions like increasing domestic oil production will be the key to reducing U.S. dependence on foreign oil. But one Gulf Coast senator says he's got his own alternative to the president's energy plan. Joining us now, Louisiana Senator David Vitter, a member of the Environment and Public Works Committee. Senator, thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks, Shannon. Good to be with you.
All right, so the president gave a speech a little bit earlier this week at Georgetown University here in Washington. I want to play a bit of it and then get your reaction. Take a listen.
Sure.
When it comes to drilling offshore, my administration approved more than 2 permits last year for every new well that the industry started to drill. So any claim that my administration is responsible for gas prices because we've quote-unquote shut down oil production, any claim like that is simply untrue. It might make for a useful soundbite, but it doesn't track with reality.
So, Senator, in your opinion, how is this administration doing with moving forward with domestic oil production?
Well, those of us who live on the Gulf Coast know that the president is just not telling the truth to the American people. He's virtually shut down the Gulf since the BP disaster. We now only have 7 deepwater exploratory permits. Comparable period before the disaster, we had seen 68, almost 10 times as many. So there is a de facto moratorium. There is a permitorium.
So where is the disconnect between what he's saying and that he is offering incentives and moving things forward when it comes to domestic oil production and your observance that, in your opinion, that's not the case?
Well, there's just a gulf, no pun intended, between his words and his deeds, the deeds of his administration. And again, since the BP disaster, there's been this ongoing virtual shutdown of the Gulf. Unfortunately, that's typical in terms of his energy policy. And our bill that we introduced this past Thursday, we call it 3D, Domestic Jobs, Domestic Energy, and Deficit Reduction Act of 2011, would increase access across the board to our domestic resources so we can produce more right here at home and in the process create great jobs and reduce the deficit.
And Senator, I know at this point you have a number of Republicans who've signed on. I wonder whether you may get a Democrat or more than one. I ask because, of course, your counterpart there in Louisiana, Senator Mary Landrieu, who is a Democrat, she has also criticized the Department of Energy, saying they're sort of dragging their feet,
Sure.
They're not doing things. Do you hope to have her or other Democrats sign on to this effort as well?
I do. We're not there yet, but I've been visiting a lot with prospective Democrats, and in the current environment, and a big part of that environment, of course, is the rising price at the pump. I think this bill is going to be very attractive to several of them.
Okay, I also want to play another bit of the president's speech where he talks about
Sure.
oil leases that are out there but aren't being used. Take a listen.
Right now, the industry holds tens of millions of acres of leases where they're not producing a single drop. They're just sitting on supplies of American energy that are ready to be tapped. And that's why part of our plan is to provide new and better incentives that promote rapid, responsible development of these resources.
And Senator, we had our researchers here at Fox take a little look at that claim, and what we found from our data is that in the Gulf of Mexico, 34 million acres are under lease. Only 10 million acres, though, have approved exploration or development plans. Now, is that more about something the government has or hasn't done, or these folks who hold the leases and what they have or haven't done?
It's more about this permitorium. You can have all the leases you want. If you have 0 permits, you can't do anything. And so again, it's the bureaucracy and the stalemate of the Obama administration that's preventing more exploration and development. In fact, this administration is now being sued by leaseholders who are saying our lease is worthless because we can't move forward, we can't get permits. And there are literally lawsuits that I think will end up costing the taxpayer billions of dollars.
Well, we know that your new piece of legislation is very targeted. We'll watch to see if you get those Democratic sponsors on board as well, and watch it as it winds its way through the Senate. Senator David Vitter, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Shannon, very much.
Well, are Tea Party ideals being ignored in